That's what I remember. So here we are today. Enough about me. Let's keep the focus where it should be, on our National Honor Society students. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the current members. You didn't get kicked out. And congratulations, of course, to tonight's inductees. As many of you already know, the National Honor Society recognizes students who have excelled in what NHS calls their 4 pillars: scholarship, service, character, and leadership. So let's just take a quick look at these pillars. Scholarship, it's kind of a no-brainer. If you guys didn't get good grades in really rigorous courses, you wouldn't be here tonight, right? So scholarship, no-brainer. Service, whether it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, service, especially community service, and hopefully not court-ordered, is probably something you've chalked up a lot of. If in some way you guys didn't give back to the community, you wouldn't be here tonight. So, scholarship and service. What about character? Well, character is defined by NHS as striving to make the right choice day after day. And if you didn't strive for that, you probably shouldn't be here tonight. So that's great. I don't want to talk to you about those 3 things. I think we're all set on those. I want to talk about leadership. Maybe some of you, maybe many of you, are already considered leaders. Maybe you're a team captain, or a student council representative, or a class officer. Question is, does this make you a leader? In an article on leadership in the American Scholar, William Dershowitz posed some interesting questions for present and future leaders. In reading this article, I thought that maybe I recognized some of our students. If you are a National Honor Society student, you are smart. Show of hands. Okay, I got a couple. Thank you, sir. You're energetic. Anyone? You are accomplished. Here you sit, right? And you're ambitious. You've got a lot on your plates, right? Do these things make you a leader? Does being a straight A student make you a leader? All right, let's stop picking on scholars. Does being a great athlete make you a leader? Does being a brilliant heart surgeon make you a leader? Does being an accomplished novelist make you a leader? Leadership is kind of elusive. Some of you have already applied to or are in the process of applying to college. And in order to gain acceptance to the college of your dreams, you know that you have to be good at checking off boxes, right? AP and honors classes. Did you take them? Did you take enough of them? Did you get good enough grades? Is your GPA high enough? Check, 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 right? Standardized test scores since day 1, since kindergarten. MCAS, PARC, PSATs, SATs, ACTs, ETCs. Is there a test called ETC? Or is that et cetera? 15 years ago I didn't need glasses, so bear with me. What about your extracurricular activities? They better be awesome. Everything you do has to be awesome. Volunteer work, save the world. And God forbid if you want to get a job that pays you minimum wage so that you can go to a movie or something. You got to do all these things. You're good. You guys are good at these things. It's part of the reason why you're here. You're good at checking off the boxes. So the question that William Dershowitz poses for us is this. Does the education system in America today prepare you to be a leader? Or is it a system that trains leaders who can answer questions but don't know how to ask them? Is it a system that trains leaders who can fulfill goals but don't know how to set them? Is Is it a system that trains leaders who can think about how to get things done, but never think about whether these things are worth doing in the first place? So these are just some things, serious things to consider as you move forward in your lives, your educations, and someday in your careers. Maybe your generation will be one of leaders. Leaders who are thinkers, leaders who think for themselves, leaders who can formulate a new direction, whether it be on a small scale for your team, for your club, for your organization, or for your school, or for your corporation, or maybe for your government someday. Ask yourself this. Don't answer. Do you have your own ideas? And if you do, can you argue for your ideas? Can you argue for your ideas when your ideas aren't popular with your friends, and maybe even more so with your superiors? So leadership is one of the pillars of the National Honor Society. But remember, it's easy to call yourself a leader. And it's easy to be called a leader by somebody else. But being a real leader is different. And it's truly a great accomplishment at whatever age you're at. At this point, I'd like to shift gears a little bit and describe the leadership abilities of a former president of the United States. In other words, I'm going to go all history teacher on you. Some of you are probably thinking, oh, here we go again. Here goes the liberal Democrat school teacher singing the praises of a liberal Democratic president like FDR or JFK or LBJ or maybe even President Clinton, Bill, not Hillary, maybe President Obama, but nope, not tonight. Tonight let's go with a Republican. Tonight let's go with a Republican who happens to be my favorite president of all time, the one against whom all past, present, and future presidents are measured. Not Nixon. Who was it? Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president. Very good. 15 years ago, when I was standing here going on and on and on, kind of like tonight, a historian named Doris Kearns Goodwin was almost done with a book she had been working on for years called Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln. It ended up being a Pulitzer Prize-winning book. Steven Spielberg took it and turned it into an Academy Award-winning film about Lincoln, cleverly called Lincoln. In a recent interview, well, I shouldn't say recent, in an interview, Kearns Goodwin was asked why she believed Lincoln was such a good leader. And what she said was that Lincoln did six things that set him apart, probably forever. And there's only six, so I'm going to go through them quickly with you. The first one was that, according to the author, Doris Kearns Goodwin, she said that Lincoln's capacity to listen to different points of view made him different. The book is called Team of Rivals, not to bore you with the details, but he invited all of his rivals, all of his competitors into his cabinet, and he listened to them. And he created a culture where it was okay to disagree, and there were not going to be reprisals or retaliations if you did. So by doing this, Lincoln was willing to listen, but he also was in charge, and he knew when a discussion had gone on long enough, and he knew when to make a decision, and he knew that his decision was fine. The second thing that she said was that Lincoln was always willing to share the credit for success and to share in the blame for failure. He supported his people. He stood up for them. He let them have their moment. And when they screwed up, he had their back. The third thing was Lincoln's willingness to get out in the field and manage directly. The war was going on. And he was often at battlefields, at hospitals, at military bases, just boosting the morale of everybody that he could. And he didn't hide from public opinion. He used to call it a public opinion bath. He would talk to people, even if they were telling him things that weren't easy to listen to. He didn't want to be surrounded by yes people. He wanted the truth. The fourth thing is that Lincoln was strong when it came to sticking to his fundamental goals. In 1864, the war was going really badly. It had gone on and on and on, and hundreds of thousands of people were dead, and everyone was upset about it. And his advisors came to him and said, you need to end this. You need to negotiate with the rebels. You need to settle this thing. And he said no. He was not going to budge on two things. He was not going to let this country be divided, and he was not going to allow slavery to continue. These were non-negotiables. And you guys are going to have non-negotiables in your life. You're going to have to draw a line at some point. And this was his line. The fifth thing was Lincoln's ability to communicate his goals and his visions. When he spoke to people, when he wrote to people, he made concepts simple, but he also spoke to people in a way that the common citizen could appreciate and understand. He understood the common person. So when he was communicating with them, he understood their concerns. And the last one, don't you love those words? The last one, Lincoln had the ability, through the worst crisis in American history, you guys think you have stress, he had the ability to calm himself, to relax himself, and to replenish himself in the face of all this stress. When he was mad, he wrote what he called hot letters. If he was mad at you, he'd write a letter to you. He wouldn't sign it, he wouldn't send it, he'd stick it in the drawer and he'd leave it there. And usually he'd just throw it away. But that was his way to blow off steam. He was a storyteller. He loved to tell stories, and sometimes he was the only one that thought they were funny. But this was a way for him to blow off steam. And unfortunately, he also loved going to the theater, which he did more than 100 times during his presidency. I think we all kind of know how that turned out. That's not funny. So I'll leave you with this. Don't you love those words? I'll leave you with this. Here's my unsolicited advice to all of you. In the present and in the future, study leadership. Discover the kind of leader that you want to be. And discover the kind of leader that you don't want to be. For me, it was Lincoln. It doesn't have to be Lincoln for you. But find your Lincoln. Be your Lincoln. Be a leader. Thanks for listening. And maybe I'll see some of you guys in 15 years. Thank you.
We'd like to present you with this plaque to thank you for being here tonight. Now for the pillars of NHS.
Good evening. Service is a pillar that can be achieved in infinite ways. The willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without compensation or recognition of any kind is a quality that is essential for the National Honor Society. Each member of NHS strives to provide service to the surrounding communities in order to benefit those around them. Service is not just to satisfy requirements set by NHS or for college applications, but to help another through reaching out to them due to deeply rooted values. Thank you.
Good evening. Scholarship is not about being the most skilled or the most intellectual person. It is about having an intellectual curiosity that drives one not only to enjoy learning new things, but to also have the persistence and integrity to apply oneself in understanding difficult concepts. Through hard work, scholars strive to become more educated individuals that are better suited to initiating positive changes in society. This pillar can only be achieved through diligence and effort. Scholarship means always doing the best work possible regardless of the impending award.